Hey, everybody, and welcome to this special live edition of the DVC Show. I am your host, Paul Krieger, joined by my co host this week, Toothless, and my lovely wife, Amy Krieger.
You got his wings all messed up.
Oh, well, you know, they got bent in the transfer, and then Cinders decided he might want to play with them a little bit. As always, we've got the motley crew here. John Sakari, Big Fat Panda's with us.
Welcome home. Toothless scared me. I thought your dog changed, and I was like, whoa.
Whoa, his eyes got big.
Senior Sales Associate for the DVC Resale Market, Derek DeBoer.
Hey now, happy Monday evening, everybody.
Did you get a haircut, Derek?
I did. Thank you for asking. Just for the show today, I did it.
You're
just
welcome.
for you.
And this guy got a haircut as well, and he's like staring off into Wonderland off to the side. He just likes us. He likes us so much that he's watching us off to the side as he's on the show. He wanted to make sure that everything looked perfect.
I'm looking at the live chat. Hey, everybody.
Well, good evening, folks. We're sorry we missed you this morning. I know some of you in chat already were like, no show this morning? And we were like, no. We're doing a live show tonight talking about everything that is Universal's Epic Universe, because all of us have now officially been in this park as most recently as less than 24 hours ago. Jeff was walking around Celestial Park at this hour, I think.
I'm exhausted. I'm still tired.
Were you walking around at this hour, or were you just staring at your phone hoping for a ministry group?
7 o'clock. No, we were doing stuff. We were still doing stuff.
I think
we're still in Mario Land at this point.
I think what's great is that all of us actually did this kind of separate from each other. So we could do it together, and that would be epic in its own right. But I think we said early on that the best way to kind of experience this park at first was to go and just do what you wanted to do at your pace. And I think we all kind of did that and accomplished that. Amy and I went for my birthday last week. So that was an amazing day. Thank you again to everyone that reached out with some birthday wishes. Panda went a couple weeks ago now, right?
Yep. Stayed at Stella Nova, went to the park for the whole day, just like open to close, just like most of you.
Yep. And then Derek was there. I feel like it's almost a month ago at this point. Cast member previews.
I was there in 2019. Yeah, it was really good.
It's the same year that you were last in a Disney park too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Well, we are so happy to be here with you all, and we will get to as many of your questions and comments as possible. So please be sure to put those in the comments throughout the live show. But we're going to kind of step into every portal tonight and go through all aspects of Epic Universe, try to give you our thoughts on this new park, everything that we loved, a few things that we hope maybe they fix in the coming weeks as they get ready for the grand opening of the park. But I think, I just want to start by going around the room real quick. First impressions, you walked into the park, Panda, what was your thought finally after what feels like 5 years of buildup that we've been talking about this thing?
The initial walk-in wasn't like the most amazing thing in the world to me. It was kind of big and spacious, and I saw the Helios across the way. I thought it looked good. I saw a little glimpse of the portals, and I think that didn't wow me. I just thought, wow, I'm excited. But I think the initial walk-in didn't wow me like a Main Street or anything like that, if that makes sense. I felt like it was a good neutral area before walking into the portals. And in retrospect, I love it now, but I'm just giving you my initial reaction was, okay, a lot of space. Where do I go?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like any other park where you're there on at rope drop, it's pure chaos for the first 30 to 45 minutes or so. Of all of us, Jeff, I would say that you have been there when the crowds have been the craziest. So give us kind of your intro impression of Epic when you guys went.
Yeah, and unlike you guys and Panda, I didn't do the room reservation the night before. We just kind of drove up for the morning of, so we didn't get in an hour early like on property guests do. And it was kind of weird. We got excited when we hit the parking lot because they're pumping music all throughout that parking lot. So even Amy, as we're walking in, she goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited." The music just in the parking lot when we got there was amazing. I was expecting a lot of drama trying to get through the turnstiles because a lot of people had reported that. It was smooth sailing. We were in. While everybody that stayed on property towards Super Mario World and got in line for the roller coasters, Amy and I just kind of wandered that Celestial Park, and it's different for a kind of a main street, opening into the park. It's huge with, beautiful fountains. I loved it. I have other thoughts that we'll get into later, but my initial thoughts were, there's a lot of room here for people. It was really cool. I was impressed.
Paul,
Yeah.
it's worth mentioning that 1 hour entrance really isn't a benefit, because all of us are going to one land.
Yeah.
That land is just extremely crowded with hour-long waits. There's no reason to stay at a hotel for that hour if they're not opening the whole park. If you're opening that one land, there's no benefit at all.
Yeah, I
You're just with
completely
all those
agree.
people.
Yeah, for us, we on the day that we went for early entry, the rides in Celestial Park were even closed. So Stardust was actually closed. It ended up actually being closed all day.
We spent our whole hour in line for Donkey Kong and it closed.
Yeah,
We never,
and then the ride went down.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I don't, if they're going to continue with this theme of just Super Mario World or Super Nintendo World being open for those early hours, I'm not sure that it's completely worth it, nor is it worth it for a day guest to rope drop that land, because it's already chaotic the moment
Yeah.
that
yeah,
you
go
kind of
somewhere
walk in.
else
So,
for the morning.
but I'll echo, Jeff, what you said. The music is what always gets me, and you can hear it as you're kind of walking. For us, we walked from we were at Stella Nova the night before, and we walked from Stella Nova, and the moment you kind of hit the bus loop area and start getting those themes, they've come up with an amazing soundtrack for Epic Universe. And a pretty smooth process of actually getting into the park. Security and ticketing are right next to each other. So if you're used to Universal Orlando, you've actually got security in the parking garage, and then you head in through City Walk and then hit ticketing. It's literally boom, boom. You go through security, you immediately are scanned for ticketing, and then you enter the main portal there at Epic Universe. So I thought it was very efficient in that way to just kind of get you into the park and get you to where you're going. Derek, you were there very early on. Kind of how was your experience back then?
Yeah, we went for, unlike most people, y'all went on, I think it was like the AP previews for the annual pass holders. I went on a team member preview because I have a good family member of mine, my brother, who got me and Connor and Annie in to be able to do it. And I think probably the coolest thing about it, it was pretty emotional. Like when you park your car and you walk out of the car and you're in the parking lot, but you realize what you're walking into is really cool because it just doesn't happen. Meaning this is a huge monumental deal to have a theme park, a billions of dollar theme park open up here in Central Florida. Again, the last time something of this magnitude, and no, not Volcano Bay, that's fine. It's a water park. I'm talking about Animal Kingdom was the last time something of this magnitude. And this to me felt even bigger. So it was pretty emotional, like, because I've been one of those like stalkers where I'll watch the YouTube videos of biotech, I think it is, and they'll fly over drones. And you could see yesterday in Dark Universe, they put in a new trash can. You're watching it going like, oh, awesome.
Yes.
I
think we
I'm
all
a sucker
followed.
for that stuff. Yeah. So we were there where you couldn't take pictures. So that was kind of strange and nice at a time because you lived in the moment. You weren't grabbing, where's my phone? I got to take a picture of this or this or this, because you couldn't, or else you'd be known as what they call a permanent guest. Meaning if you worked for Universal and they caught you taking pictures, you would be a permanent guest. So you didn't take pictures, but man, just walking into that Celestial Park area, I think is really, really special because like you said, Paul, I think it's that music, man. That music, I was goosebumping hard, bro. I mean, it was great soaring music and it was really wide open, which was kind of a nice change from, say you get to, Magic Kingdom at, park opening and it's nuts and you're trying to delve into the Emporium to try to beat the crowds. Here, at least on the time I went, was really, really spacious and mixed with it was very kinetic, like lots of fountains and lots of music and lots of just moving parts everywhere. So I was really, really happy. And it just got better as the day went on. So yeah, it was a cool first impression, Celestial Park. But I would like to know, because I've heard a couple of people try to talk about, there's supposed to be, and I'm sure I could find it somewhere, the story of Celestial Park. Like they had characters too. There was like, I don't know, like a cat or something, and he was in a time warp. There's some weird story that's supposed to tie in to what exactly Celestial Park is, which would make sense. I didn't see a lot of that around, so I would be curious to somehow, and I'm sure I can, find the backstory of exactly why is Epic Universe in Orlando, Florida. I'm sure they have a story.
Yeah, the
Yeah, and if I could just jump in real quick on that, Derek,
Please.
because you had the early previews, your experience sounds like it was very, very different than mine. It was mad chaos. Like, once again,
Really?
the initial reactions is what Paul is asking for, but it was, we went into the store and then 20,000 people lined up for Isle of Berk.
Oh my
So
God.
they were not letting anybody beyond that first portal on that right side walkway. So there was no wandering around and enjoying the fountains. It was the Hunger Games. Yeah.
Are they increasing the APs now all of a sudden? Because I feel
Yes.
like Jeff had it. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so when we were there last week, we were able to see, I think that the annual pass ticket sales for that single day were somewhere around 5,000 or 5,500. And I believe that, Jeff, on your day, they upped them to closer to 8,000 for that day. And that was one of the highest days we saw. And for your 8,000, I'm pretty sure you were pretty much close to sold out for that day. We were there on a Tuesday, and of the 5,500,
it was
it was about 50% sold. So it was a much lower attendance thing. And
But they should
went
be
back-
able to handle 8,000 people. Easy.
I mean, yeah, Jeff and I were going back and forth with this last
We'll get into
week,
that.
or last night a little bit. And, you know, when you talk about attendance and capacity, you think some of the smaller parks at Disney World can at least handle 30 to 40,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, in just doing these calculations so far, like, if you get more than 10,000 people in Epic Universe, I'm going to begin to have some crowd concerns and stuff. But
I think so it's not the amount of people, it's everything functioning properly and running properly, because
Right.
even when we weren't there, you know, the Harry Potter show never opened, it never worked. So that's a crowd eater that didn't take anyone that day. You know, Donkey Kong, well, it was down for several hours. So yes, of course, when it's back up, everybody that's there wants to ride it. So that makes those lines longer. I think
Yeah.
if they can get their mechanics down, they can get their tech functioning with, you know, reliability, then it is going to help a lot. I still worry about how that park's going to be, you know, fully crowded, but if they can get those rides functioning the whole day, that's going to make a huge difference.
And some
in
of
those
you-
shows.
Yeah, and some of you might be asking, you know, why haven't we done any videos from in the park or anything like that? First and foremost, there's a bunch of vloggers that have done much better videos than we will on this subject. So I love you for wanting to watch us talk about it, but there's a
Including this
million
one.
videos out there. The other thing is we kind of felt that every single one of us paid personally to go to these previews. So we wanted to, like, it was my birthday. I wanted to just spend it and enjoy my birthday, but we did get some content that we'll be putting out in the upcoming weeks. But the biggest reason for me is that these are previews. This is
realistic.
not the reality that this park is going to exist
Right.
in. And I think to all of you as DVC members or Disney fans, you want to know, what is this experience going to be like for me? And so everything that we share tonight is from previews, cast member, annual pass previews. Some experiences were good, some experiences were not so good, and we'll cover all of that. But I think it is important to note that it was during a preview period, and so, you know, that kind of taints a little bit of our perception because it wasn't at full capacity, and we really don't know what they're going to crank that up to be just yet in terms of everything. So
And while we're on that real quick topic, I just wanted, I think that would be my biggest complaint is I felt like that if, and like Paul said, we all paid for our own ticket. Nobody paid. World of DVC didn't pay for this. Universal didn't invite us. We just paid cash because we wanted to go because we were so excited. I have a problem with somebody calling this a preview
Mm-hmm.
and not having everything functioning and still charging me for it. I think that's wrong. I think if they're going to invite annual pass holders to preview it, it should be a preview, and that's fine that if nothing's working. Like, bring 10,000 people in and have them all ride Harry Potter and kick them out the door again. That's a preview to me. To charge me almost full price for a preview and then have the problems that they did, which we'll get into, I feel a little bit robbed.
I completely agree, Jeff. I said, you could say, sorry, this is down. It's a preview. Sorry. Yeah, but my money was just as green. So you took it. I expect something.
I'm a little bit different only because I still say that for the price we all paid, we'll never be able to do everything that any of us did in that park ever again in a single day. So
Fair.
I think for that value, like any of us would have to have probably upwards of tripled the cost of what that day was. Probably would have had to have had express, all of that kind of stuff. And so they want their money back. Obviously, they've spent billions of dollars on this park. Sure. And they've kind of plastered that all over the place. You know, I know at the entrance to every single portal, at the entrance to the park, they're everywhere are those signs that say we are under technical rehearsal. Things might not work. Things might work. And so I think it's just one of those things that you got to go in with that mindset. I think if we ever see Disney do a giant, Fifth Gate or anything like that ever again, you've got to believe that they're gonna charge for it. These companies want their money. So, but I understand, like, it would have been nice if it was a little bit cheaper, or it would have been nice if they had tried to get certain things working a little bit, but we'll get into that in a little bit more detail here as we kind of go through all of our experiences. So what we're going to do is kind of jump into every single portal individually. If you guys have questions, we'll answer them along the way. We'll also talk about some food, talk about some hotels, and we'll be on here for a good hour and a half kind of covering everything Epic Universe. Before we go any further, even though we all paid out of pocket ourselves for this, we wouldn't be able to do this show or anything like this if it wasn't for our sponsors over at the World of DVC. DVC Resale Market, if you're looking to buy or sell a Disney Vacation Club contract. Monera Financial, who can assist in financing that DVC resale contract purchase. And the DVC Rental Store, where you can try before you buy, rent some points, or rent out your own points. Specific to Universal, if you are a Disney Vacation Club member and looking for a way to get to Universal Orlando Resort or get to Universal's Epic Universe, DVC Rental Store can actually help you swap your points for a Universal vacation. You can basically book a vacation with us, hotel, tickets, all that kind of stuff, and then you rent your points to essentially pay down the value of that vacation. And it's an amazing way to kind of harness the value of your points towards that Universal portion of your trip. The other is Be Our Guest Vacations. So if you're looking to just take an outright vacation to Universal, Be Our Guest is a travel agency that is a part of the World of DVC family, and they can assist you with booking that Universal vacation. I feel like Derek was like mouthing along with me there at the end. That was great.
No, that was weird.
No, I was putting on my reading glasses because, of course, I want to read the comments on this, and I realize I always have to make such a big deal when I put on my readers.
Before you get to all that, I do want to say, just looking at all the comments, we've had some people wondering, why is the DVC show doing an entire live show on Epic Universe? And just looking at the comment section, this is why. There are so many people in the comments right now. I can't wait to go. I've already got Helios booked. I'm planning, to go then. It's very, very relevant for DVC members. It affects Disney too, because we've had that discussion already. But also, like, for us, for the consumer, this isn't Disney versus Universal. We all are winning here. We're all getting good things out of this. So I'm just really excited to talk.
Amy, do you know how many DVC people I met? And I'm sure Jeff did too. Probably not Derek because it was the cast preview. But Jeff, did you meet people from the show? Because I had
a couple people, a couple people.
See?
While Amy was in the bathroom once, and then one other. Yeah.
The DVC people are going, whether we talk about it or not. So.
Yeah, and there's only going to be so many times in our lifetime that we can actually cover a brand new theme park.
That's what I said.
It's just, this is probably like one of the most exciting things that has happened in Orlando for a long period of time. I loved when we went to the D23 me and Dan went to the D23 preview of Tiana's, but come on, that's one ride that's been around for ages that they slapped some new paint on. This is a whole brand new theme park.
Right.
And it's just, it's mind numbing what they've done in this place.
You forgot to ask me my initial impression at the beginning, which is fine.
You were over here reading comments.
But what I've been thinking ever since we left Epic was, you know, obviously we're Disney people. We love Disney. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be living in Florida. We wouldn't be doing this. But it's been since Cosmic Rewind that opened in May of 2022. So 3 years ago, since Disney has given me goosebumps, right? Has given me that, wow, like, holy crap. And that's just one ride in 3 years. When we went to Epic Universe, I felt that moment at least 4 times that I can think of. Like 4 times that I got goosebumps from some show or some attraction or something that I saw. Like, holy crap. And when when something has grabbed a hold of you, when you go home and the next couple of days, it's all you can think about. Like, I got to get back there. I got to get back on those rides. I got to get back into those shows. You know, I felt like that about Cosmic Rewind, but that was one ride 3 years ago. With Epic, there's so many things I want to go back and do again. And we didn't even get to do everything.
And she says a couple days, and we're about a week later now. And
it is a week. It feels like it's been a couple days. It was Tuesday. I had jury duty today and I don't know, time.
Before we jump around the park, I do want to give a huge shout out to Universal Creative and all of the amazing team members that are making this park a reality. I go back to when, and this is a very weird comparison, but I go back to when I was in college and I had the ability to be on the opening team at an Olive Garden and a Best Buy. The energy that comes out of these grand openings is so incredible, and you can feel it on every single cast member that is working there, or team member that is working there. They all are very excited to show us the worlds that they've created and are inviting us into them. And I think that Universal has liquid in a bottle. You know, they have an amazing product. If they can continue that energy as this park opens, and that energy just continues as this park is open for months and months and years, I think it'll continue to be a wonderful, wonderful park. But we had so many amazing interactions with cast members or with team members in the park. It
felt like old school Disney.
Yeah, and probably a lot of them are. You know, that's where a lot of old Disney cast members have ended up, has been Universal, and found some love over there at that park. So let's dive in. We're gonna go into Celestial Park first to kind of kick things off. So we walked in the doors. Celestial Park is that area or that main hub that is kind of in the center of Epic Universe, and it's kind of your home to then expand out to all of these other lands. Derek, you said it right, and I'm going to probably butcher explaining this a little bit. There is a theme that is carried on here throughout Celestial Park. I believe that there's 2 gods, Greek gods, at each end of the park. I forget what they are, what their names are. But the mindset is that the stars have aligned, or that everything has aligned to allow us this opportunity on this day, on this visit, to then enter these portals. So the portals have activated, the portals have opened.
I didn't even know that.
We are now invited into each of these portals.
This
on
is news to me. I like it.
So,
brand new. Jeff, did you know what happened, Derek?
So it happened to be open on each day that we all went. That's
no, isn't that weird? That's magic right there.
But technically, if you really follow the story, we were all there on the same day.
Now I want to know. I know Helios is the god of like the sun, but I don't know what Greek gods were the
huge
statues.
Shout out to Dennis while Amy's looking up Greek gods for the super chat. Dennis, thank you so much. He said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for everything you do. It's $2 each. Don't spend it all in one place.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That'll help reimburse me for my merch buy yesterday.
It won't come close for mine. No.
Not at all.
It's Helios and Luna. So Helios is the one in front of Helios.
Correct.
And Luna is the one that has the animal with her. Can't remember what it was. She's the one at the front of the
What did
park.
Derek call it? A cat?
Was it a cat? I think
I would have sworn, and our audience is super smart. I'm sure they could probably find it. I thought there was like some story, like truly like a pirate guy or something that he was then going to do like meet and greets in Celestial Park.
There is a pirate mascot bear I've seen. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. A bear, a cat,
he's in the candy
He's
store.
got the shop. He's got the sweet shop.
Yeah. He's
But he's part of their story.
Right.
Okay. So since we're
Luna's the
talking about
goddess
this,
of the moon. This all makes sense.
I would like to go on record and saying, okay, Paul told me when we got on the show, I'm not allowed to be a curmudgeon. And I'm not, because I freaking love this theme park.
Here it goes.
But it's not a home run. It's a solid triple, which is a perfectly respectable score in baseball, but it's not a home run. There are some problems. And one of the things that I have an issue with is the fact that none of us who are supposed to be quote unquote theme park people have any idea what this actually is. So something tells me something got lost in translation here, and they need to do better at explaining the story, because I'm loving what I'm hearing, but I don't think what we're getting is accurate, because there's like a pirate with a cat and gods, and there's a lot of missing pieces here.
There's a lot of moving parts. Jeff, continue.
I would have liked them at the ticket booth to stop me for 10 minutes and just fill me in on what I need.
Yeah, that would have been very productive.
There's written information that we just didn't stop and read. So
You think people are going to stop and read?
It might be our own faults for not knowing.
No one's going to stop and read. I can promise that.
The story should
What,
tell
do you
itself.
want to watch an infomercial before you go in?
For Celestial Park, 2 different rides in this area. One is Stardust Racers, which is the dueling roller coaster that is probably the most notable thing that you can really see in this area of the park. And actually, if you're driving to the park or far away, you can see it towering over everything. And then they also have I believe it's the Celestial Carousel. I think I've got that name right. So those are your 2 main rides. These rides are open for early theme park access if you do have that, or they're supposed to be. They weren't on the day that Amy and I went there. But
Yeah.
Amy, what was your thoughts on Celestial Park?
So we did not get to ride Stardust. That's the one thing we actually didn't get to ride, and I really, really wanted to ride it. I'm hearing a lot of people say that it rivals Velocicoaster or is even better, and Velocicoaster has been one of my favorites. But I can tell by looking at it, I'm going to love it. And hopefully we'll get to ride it in May. But other than that, Celestial Park is beautiful. The fountains are impressive. We haven't seen anything like that from a fountain in a long time, since we were in Vegas at the Bellagio. So
Fountains, Panda, fountains.
Loved the fountains.
Yeah. And we caught 2 little parts of the fountain show, and I think they're going to be doing more with that, in the future here. Just really cool. The seating around the fountains is like a tiered astroturf. Yeah. To me, that rivals kind of like the hub grass. It's going to be a really neat place to sit and hang out when the weather allows you to sit there, but just really cool overall. We were there on a day where it was very, very low crowds. I told Paul before we went in, I said, this is a once in a lifetime experience. Like, we're never going to see this park this dead. So just soak it all in while you can. It seemed like Celestial Park had a lot of space though. I would like to see another ride added eventually. But right now, at night, that place just lights up. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
that carousel was gorgeous. I haven't ridden it.
Yeah, we rode it. Jeff, did you ride the carousel?
We did not. Jeff and Dan did, and their exact words were, "It was neat."
It's different.
Kind of
it's unlike any carousel that I've ever experienced before.
For me,
it's very aesthetic.
Yes, and it's like a 20th century carousel. You've got a more upbeat, techno music that plays with the background. Yeah. I'm like, it's like a carousel meets the teacups at Disney World and alien swirl saucers.
Yes,
Kind
yes,
of
yes.
is this mashup between those. It's
Yeah.
not as crazy as teacups or alien swirling saucers. It's definitely just a very tame carousel. But the way that it moves, the way that the lighting
Yeah, they're not all
interacts-
connected floor to ceiling. They're just in the floor, and actually your experience is going to depend on what kind of space you're in. So for example, like you've got the circles that are moving. You were on the outside of a circle, so you were moving around a whole lot more, whereas my horse or whatever the world that thing was in the center, so I wasn't getting all the like full degree of movement. You know what I mean? So your experience is going to be different depending on what you sit into.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes for the perfect centerpiece in that park. I just think it's big. It's really aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
The music that comes out of it is super awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's like what Jeff said. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a carousel. Like no one's going to go, so do you want to hit the carousel or the Stardust Racers first? All right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. No one's going to do that. But it's really, really pretty. Yeah. It's super pretty. And the music coming out of it. So just to look, and we'll probably talk about it later too. But I was bummed because our preview closed before it got dark. So we didn't get to see them at night. And I've heard
that's
amazing
the
things
best.
about night. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty.
in this photo of Paul, you can see like it's not connected at the top. There's lights at the top. And then it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. Like I said, it wasn't a priority on this particular trip for us.
Yeah.
We had our sights set on other things. We could have definitely ridden it if we hadn't waited 2 hours staring at the entrance to Harry Potter, hoping for a miracle. But we'll get into that later. My thoughts on Celestial Park. Loved it. Especially at night. It is so pretty lit up, you guys. You could spend hours just sitting there on that AstroTurf and watching that fountain, watching the carousel, the Stardust Racers going by. They've lit this park like you hoped they would. Like there isn't an area of Celestial Park that isn't something special. My only complaint, and it kind of goes along with what Amy was saying about you wish there was something else, another ride or something. I kind of feel like maybe it's too big. We were talking with Jeff and Dan, and they were over in Isle of Berk, and we wanted to meet them at Dark Monsters, and they felt like that was walking from here to like Tampa, because it does feel like it's a long way. It's not. It's probably like walking from Space Mountain to Tiana or something. It's a journey, but it's not forever. My thought is, as Paul was saying earlier with the capacity, if they ever get to the point that they can handle 40,000 people in this park, 30,000 of them will be stuck in Celestial Park with 10,000 in each of the portals, just because some of those portals feel very crowded, where you could like play Red Rover with 500 people in Celestial Park. It is a massive, massive open area with kind of, I don't want to say wasted space, but definitely a lot of space that, I don't know, if they could have pulled those portals out into that park and given some of those cramped areas a little less crampiness, I think that would have still achieved the goal that they were going for. But it is just really pretty. And there's a bar at the beginning of every portal, so Derek's set.
Did you get to do Stardust Racers or no?
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's
I'm sorry. I forgot to talk about that. Amy and I's opinion.
It's the greatest roller coaster I've ever been on. Best coaster I've ever been on.
Right here. Derek's going to keep talking.
Oh, I'm going to keep talking about forever. Because it literally is so much flipping fun. And it just doesn't let up for 1 second. Like most coasters will have like a time where you're like, whew, let me catch my breath. It didn't let you catch your breath at all from the moment it starts. And you have that energy of being right next to a car right next to you. And at times you're like crisscrossing and almost passing by each other.
Yeah.
I did both sides, and the amount of G-force and the amount of just hang time you get, I adored it. I thought it was flipping awesome. So good. So good.
Yeah, and I can echo that. Amy and I both say the same thing. We both feel that this is better than Velocicoaster. We really do. It's close because we do love Velocicoaster. Dan and Jeff, they actually preferred Velocicoaster by a little bit because they like the story and the fact that it's part of something. But I don't know. There's something really special about. It's almost like a dance that these roller
Yes.
coasters do in and out of each other. Does anybody know? I asked Amy, and we wanted to know because it's a racetrack. Stardust Racers. Is it different who comes in first at the end?
It depends on which bear is making chocolate that day in the portal, and then that bear powers through his stirring. Actually, both trains are powered. Little Easter egg. Both trains are powered on the back of the trains by a flux capacitor. So a little nod to Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. We did notice that. And I just want to hit one of the comments in the chat. Does it compare to the Dueling Dragons? So Dueling Dragons is what used to be at Islands of Adventure before Hagrid's was built. Yeah. This puts Dueling Dragons to shame, in my opinion. Mostly because it's much smoother than Dueling Dragons was. But it's a little more accessible to people that maybe don't like to do the big hyperloops like Dueling Dragons did. Mm-hmm. That messed with a lot of people's equilibrium, I feel like. This is just smooth. It's pretty. The music is gorgeous. The lighting is gorgeous if you're lucky to go on it at night. I personally think it's better.
Yeah. Panda, did you ride Stardust?
I didn't, but you know what? I want to. I'm scared of Velocicoaster, but I'm not scared of Stardust, and I don't know why.
Okay, so Jeff,
makes zero sense.
Jeff and Derek, did you guys ride both sides?
I did.
We did not. We had every intention of riding green. We rode yellow during the day. We wanted to ride green at nighttime, but again, we'll get to Harry Potter in a minute.
Okay, I heard that green had another version. Is that true? And yellow had more kind of like.
I don't know. I mean, when you're on it and you're on it and you're screaming and crying and wetting yourself, you really don't care what color.
There is a Reddit deep dive into each track and what's different. Yeah, and people do say one is more intense than the other.
Yeah, I've heard green is more intense. I will say I'm sad we didn't get to ride it. What happened with us was that it was actually down pretty much the entire day. It didn't open up until the last hour and a half. And when it opened, there must have been something wrong with the yellow side because they were only running the green side. So if we rode it, it was like an hour, 50-minute wait because of only one side being open and everybody not getting to ride it that whole day. And the other thing was that you didn't get the full effect because I think part of it is that you've got these two coasters, side by side. So I really want to ride it.
And I will say that this space for me rivals the feeling that you get of kind of walking around the World Showcase at Epcot. I think that it will be a very popular kind of hangout spot for people that are kind of taking breaks in between portals or waiting for something to happen. Jeff, as you said, there's bars literally everywhere around here. Yeah. There are going to be some amazing restaurants that are going to be in this space. The Atlantic restaurant looks out of this world, especially at night. Very seafood themed. It looks absolutely amazing. I look forward to just kind of going and just spending time and hanging out in this area.
Yeah, and there were some restaurants not even open yet, like you had said when we were there. So I think that will also help with the capacity and the crowds is when they start opening some of these restaurants that haven't yet been opened. When Stardust is fully up and operational, it has great capacity because we're running 2 trains side by side. The wait times are never too bad when it's actually functioning.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Panda.
I was going to say, before we get into each portal, I didn't realize how much I was going to love the portal thing, that you literally go into this portal, you don't see any other worlds really while you're in there, and then you come back out into Celestial, and it just feels like, okay, I'm back in this neutral area. I don't see the magic too much. I see Celestial, but not that portal. And then you go choose another world, and you enter that other world. I didn't realize how much that was. It was just great. And where Disney is now mishmashing a lot of the theming, I loved having the theming perfect at this
They
point.
really hit the sight lines well.
And it's about incorporating all of the feels as well. Not only are you getting the visual pop right when you walk into these lands, but as you walk through that portal, I don't know like how much all of you paid attention, but like, okay, Super Nintendo land, like that, you go up the escalator through the pipe and you hear the pipe sound, like you hear yourself literally like entering the portal. Over in Harry Potter and the Ministry of Magic area, as you're walking through the portal, there's actually a ticking sound, and that is the time turner ticking, taking you back into the land that you are headed into. So the integration of both sound and this is what Universal has done this very well over the years. They've integrated all of those things together very well. And in some of these rides that we're going to get into, it's kind of the culmination of a lot of those effects. Go ahead, Jeff.
One quick thing before we leave Celestial Park. One of the things, and it was actually Amy that pointed it out to me, I hadn't really paid attention. Unlike most theme parks, Celestial Park, Helios is kind of the centerpiece of the park. It's the thing that you can see from almost anywhere. And so I was worried that you could get a little bit discombobulated walking around Celestial Park and not being able to see where you need to go to get to the portals, because they are far. But she noticed that above every portal is a big old long high pointer of some kind that has just a hint of the theming of the portal. So like on the Super Nintendo world, you can see a couple of mushrooms, you can see a couple of stars. The Harry Potter, there's a guy holding a wand. You can see those from anywhere to kind of get your bearings, which I think they didn't have to do that. That was an added expense that served no purpose other than tying those worlds into
And
that
Jeff,
story.
at night, the light that shines up from those portals is like the lightsaber in Hollywood studios when they used to do the show. It just it's great.
Yep.
The light is, I loved it. And they all come together in a point at the top. Have you noticed that?
No.
Oh,
now
if you stand in a certain spot, it looks like it. So you've got the light coming from, the Harry Potter portal and Berk and this, and they're all coming up and they're like hitting into each other.
That's
at the
cool.
Top of the sky.
Did not notice that.
I think too, it needs to be said before we go and visit each one of these is that everyone needs to realize that I think one of the coolest things about it, and I know that we've all talked about it too, is when you're in these lands, you don't see anything else. Like you really don't see, like I have never felt this level of immersion in a theme park land than each and every one of them. When you're in, the Wizarding World, my God, it's like you're in Berk. I mean, the stats on this, it's just incredible. When you're in Berk, you're in Berk. You don't realize it. Like it's just so.
It's total witchcraft because I don't know how it's done.
I know. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. Well, let's go clockwise around the park. Let's kick things off in Super Nintendo World. So for those of you that have heard about this land before, there's a carbon copy essentially out in California. There's also one in one of the foreign parks.
I believe it's Japan.
Japan?
I believe it's Japan. I'm not sure, but I believe it's Japan.
So a lot of the rides feel the same. You're going to have Mario Kart. You're going to have the Yoshi ride in both of those locations. The thing that's added here in Orlando and exclusive to this one is the Donkey Kong Minecart Madness Coaster. And Jeff, based off of your background and everything else, one would maybe say that you liked this area, or I can't say much. I'm over here drinking out of a Yoshi mug, so.
So I don't know if we're supposed to say favorites or not, but this was my favorite land. I went into the park expecting it to be my favorite. I was not disappointed. I want to just say a couple of things. It is not a carbon copy of the one in Hollywood. This one is at least 5 times larger, it feels like. This is much, not including the Donkey Kong section. The Mario land is much, much larger here than the version in Hollywood. I have never been in a theme park created land that felt so alive. There isn't a single part of that land that isn't moving, and like I got tons of video on my phone. I wish I could show on the screen how much detail they went in. And as a Mario guy, like I mean, look behind me. Mario, I've gone on record before. Mario is my favorite video game franchise. The queue for the Mario Kart ride so many Easter eggs. If you've played any Mario game, you're going to find something that you recognize. Amy
Yeah.
said it was just like walking into the game, and I can't agree more. And then you get into the Donkey Kong Country part, and they captured that as well. You know, the plane and the huts and Grandpa and everything about the Donkey Kong Country series was captured well. Again, like I said earlier, this park hit a triple. It wasn't a home run. There's a couple of problems here. I think people that don't, not to mention anybody by name, Amy Krieger, that don't play video games very well, might struggle on Mario Kart. Because my Amy was trying to get explanation, but because it's somewhat augmented reality. It's not virtual reality, but it's augmented reality.
I
through the goggles.
struggled.
I can't help her because I can't see what she's seeing. So you're kind of left to your own devices. And if you don't figure it out, you could have what I would call a mediocre experience. Donkey Kong Country, Minecart Madness, excellent roller coaster, way too short for the length of wait that it's getting.
It is short. Mm-hmm.
But as they add to this park and those wait times, you know, once everything starts to function, I think that will get better.
Jeff,
but overall, I mean, I bought the damn band that I absolutely didn't need to buy because I just wanted to punch bricks.
Jeff, you forgot to mention the most important part of the ride.
Paul loved Yoshi. I didn't get it, but it's fine.
It's so cute. It's like you're in the game. Like if you want to feel like you're in the game, this is it.
That divider scares my butt.
I hadn't thought of that.
Do you want me to talk about these now, Paul, or do you want to get everybody else's opinion first, and then we'll circle back?
We'll circle back to those.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on? Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on Super Nintendo?
Everything was broken. Everything was broken.
Everything was broke.
We couldn't do the Mario Kart ride. Donkey Kong was broken all day. It just was. I hate to say the word broken, but it wasn't operating. So we did the Yoshi ride, and that was it. I mean, which again is very cute. I wouldn't wait more than 5 minutes for it, but I have a feeling people are going to wait like 2.5 hours for it. But to me, the biggest surprise is, again, when you come up and you see that land for the first time, like Jeff said, everything is moving and kinetic. But I didn't know anything about Donkey Kong Land. And you walk through underneath that and you see the waterfall coming down and you see the cart going down. Of course, that ride's broke too. But other than that, like just being in that land was really, really cool. But like every single land, my only issue is I thought it was amazing and beautiful to look at, but how is it going to be when there's 15 times the amount of people there in that land than when I was there? So I have a feeling that might take away from people like, oh my God, it was so crowded. I couldn't even move. I couldn't even breathe. That's my only concern about some of these lands.
Well, hey, Derek, while you were talking, someone hit the thumbs down button, so someone didn't like your opinion on that for some reason or another. But the other 281 of you that are currently watching us, you know, hit that thumbs up button and give Derek some love. Show him that we actually love his comments and his contributions to this show.
Okay, so I had a similar experience to Derek where I waited for 50 minutes and Donkey Kong went down. So I did no attractions at Super Mario, but I still loved it. When you enter that world, first of all, you enter from like an up so that when you get there, you look down and it's deep and high. And it is a resolution color overload to your corneas.
Yes.
That's the only way I could describe it. I was just looking back and forth like, wow. And then when you enter the new Donkey Kong area, it's almost like another portal within the Super Mario world. It was incredible. The amount of palm trees and theming and bananas. I felt like I was in Donkey Kong world there. I loved it. I even visited the Toadstool Cafe. We just got a bottle of water, but the inside was beautiful. Yeah. And the music, everywhere you go, dun 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 dun. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. We fully explored Super Mario and we rode everything there. And we did what Panda did. We sat in Toadstool Cafe and ordered a water just because we wanted to see it. It's super cute. And they're bringing out some really fun looking food out of there. There is, I want to say it's like 20 something, 30 something bucks. There's an actual tiered cake, like a Princess Peach, like three-tier cake. It was pretty cool looking. But I felt, you know, Donkey Kong ride, what's it called? Minecart Madness. We had a similar issue. We used our entire hour waiting for it for our, you know, early hotel hour. We didn't even get to ride it then. We had to come back later, wait another hour to ride it. It's fun, but it is really, really short. And if every cart is 4 people, so 2 in the front, 2 in the back. If you're sitting in the back, unfortunately, you're not really getting the full effect of it, like jumping the track. It's supposed to look like it jumps the track because you're not really seeing it, and it's so smooth. So I feel like if you had that visual, I feel like they should have made the back seats a little higher so you could see over the people. I don't know.
Amy, you said it was smooth. My friend told me he got beat up on it. Like it really banged
Did
him
you
around.
feel like you got beat up?
Which?
Minecart Madness?
Oh yeah, I thought it felt like a rickety old wooden coaster.
Because I couldn't see, because I could not see the track jumps, I thought at least I'll feel them and they'll be like, whoa. And I never felt it. It just felt, you know, like it was.
I get what you mean.
Okay. They don't do a great job simulating the jumping aspect, I think.
That's
is what
it.
Amy's trying to get
I
at.
wanted more of like a holy crap.
I agree that was something. I mean, it's still cool when you're not riding it to watch it, look at like it's jumping.
It is.
But on the ride, you don't feel like it's jumping, which I think they could have probably figured out how to simulate.
I don't
better.
know.
But there was one comment that I just saw that they were talking about the entrance to the portal with the escalators and it being a bottleneck if that is crowded. I disagree because there's other ways into the park. You can go right to the main level where the Toadstool Cafe is through a side entrance, or up the escalators. And actually, I think there's a third option up the stairs even.
To the right by where that Mario fountain is outside the portal by that gift shop. You can go right in there and you're right on the first level.
I think you should go in the portal if you can because that's like the best part. But
there's
plenty of ways to get in. You don't have
if the escalator breaks, that's going to be sad for whoever's entering for the first time. Try to go through the portal if you can.
And they do have elevators too for those that want or need.
Yep.
I will say that I wanted to love this land and I kind of left slightly disappointed from it. Jeff, I kind of like what you said about the Mario Kart ride. You've got to be a gamer. You've got to be someone that and this ride is built, I think, for that younger generation, or generation that grew up with this. But for a ride, I found myself playing the game and enjoying it, having a good time, but also feeling like I was missing everything that they had spent so much time on in the ride. Like I was so into playing the game that I wasn't taking in the surrounding scenery and everything.
That just gives it repeatability. I think I just want to ride it now and just sit there and look at everything.
Can you choose not to use the augmented reality?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't put them on.
Take it off?
Yeah,
I would do that.
Don't put them on. Yeah.
I would
and
do
your
that.
score will be terrible, Panda. You're gonna have a terrible.
But I want to see what they built. I don't want to see screen stuff in front of my eyes. I just don't.
Yeah. Speaking of scores and keeping track of things, Jeff, take us on a ride that are these power-up bands, and whether or not your $100 or however much you spent on that was worth it.
This was a $45 piece of merchandise that I didn't think I needed.
That much?
They are $45. Hold on before everybody says, "Oh my God." That's cheaper than a Magic Band, y'all. The cheapest Magic Band right now, I think, is $49. So
is that on par with a wand as well? Probably around the same price.
Wands I think are $85.
Oh boy,
the new ones I think are $85. Crazy. So this is it's similar to a Magic Band, but it's a slap bracelet. Like if you want to go back to the '90s.
I didn't know that.
But this is a game that you can play throughout Mario and Donkey Kong. That you use the app, the Universal app, to play mini games, kind of like Harry Potter, where you do the wand thing and it makes magic go. But these are everywhere. You can go and hit any brick and collect coins, and it keeps track of it in the app. It keeps track of which character, I got Mario, Amy got Princess Peach. There's like 10 of them. And you can look at the app at any point during the day and see which team has the most points. And you go, oh, I got to go help my team and go hit some bricks and get some things. But there also is a larger mini game within these mini games where you have to collect keys, like one of the series of video games. And if you can get 3 of them, then you can go and try and get the golden mushroom from Bowser's Kid, which is actually a thing that you have to wait in line for. We weren't successful in our key getting ability, and I don't think Jeff and Dan were either. But these are games that not everybody necessarily needs the band. Like I could take all 5 of us with my band and we could play the game, and you beat on the drums, or you have to stop all the clocks or whatever. But then you get, I think it's a meet and greet or something at the end. I really wish I knew, because we saw the wait, we saw the door. It was 5 minutes, but
if there's a meet and greet hidden by the gate of a game, that's awesome. I kind of like
I don't know what's behind the gate, but there is something behind the gate.
I would ask somebody who came out, is it worth it? That would be cool. Whatever it is.
What's funny though is I was driving past Epic on my way home, and I had my Magic Band in the car because I took it off in the car last night and just was still sitting there. I'm like, if this was on my annual pass, I have nothing to do this afternoon until showtime. I'm gonna go hit some coins. I'm gonna go do some things. So it's something, it's like a Magic Band. You can reuse it.
Yeah.
It goes over and over and over again.
My only objection to it is that, so if you go to hit like one of the blocks or something and you don't have it, then it makes kind of that, don't.
It was like you didn't spend enough money.
Exactly.
That's why I heard coins with some people, and yours just was like, don't.
You have to have the band.
Yeah.
It does work at both Universals here and in Hollywood. And I would imagine, because they did incorporate Donkey Kong Country into this, it's like a separate game that you can play. I imagine as they expand this Nintendo, we keep hearing Pokemon, we keep hearing Legend of Zelda. There was definitely some Legend of Zelda Easter eggs in the shop outside of the portal. As you walk in there, the castle looking one, next to the fountain. There's definitely some Legend of Zelda stained glass and stuff like that. That tells me that there's a plan for that in the future. They would not put that in there without wanting to do something. I imagine that they can take this technology and just keep growing with it. Unlike Star Wars Land, where we never got the interactivity, and my Magic Band is sort of useless there. So I see big things for this in the future. I think it's cool.
It's cool to have another layer of something to do.
If you try to hit the brick with your Magic Band, Mario comes on and tells you, you're an idiot.
All right, let's jump off from Super Nintendo World and over to Dark Universe. And this Panda, I know.
I think this is Panda
my favorite.
Panda and Derek,
My-
I feel like this is
My absolute favorite. Yours too, Derek?
Yeah, not quite. Second place, but close.
Oh, okay. I need them to expand this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I want to see.
I could live there. I could eat it up. If that was the only portal, I probably would go back no matter what. That was
That is
just
so true. And for everyone watching and everyone listening, in our private thread that we have when everybody was off going to Epic and blah, 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 I swear to God, every 6 seconds, Panda's only response to everyone was, did you ride Monsters yet? Did you ride Monsters yet?
I'm sorry.
I have a theory about this, but I'm going to let him talk first because he's super excited.
Okay, is the theory like has to do with Forbidden Journey thing?
Yes.
Yeah, and it is. It's correct.
Yeah.
I did Forbidden Journey with Jeff, I think for the first time, and I loved it, and I wanted to go back on something like that over and over. But Monsters just took it. First of all, what I like about the land is I thought that you could see Frankenstein Castle immediately when you walk in, but no, there's still a little path and a reveal before. And the reveal was just wonderful, from the town and the little details that I still haven't soaked them all up. The character interaction, every time I was in there, the Invisible Man was there, who I joke around is there all the time. The Bride of Frankenstein, just people with violins, Igor. Yeah. But the ride itself blew me away, including getting on the ride, this huge, please. Frankenstein's castle, and at night, the way electricity lights it up. but the huge turntable that you load in on with the electricity, I was so excited, and it did not disappoint me. I could stay on that all day. I think it's the greatest dark ride ever created. I will die on that hill.
Wow.
I agree. And it's fun. Like, that's the thing.
It's a lot of fun.
I've had so many people ask me too, is like, is it scary? Is it scary? I was like,
Nah.
no. So here's the deal. Stardust Racers is scary. This ride is not scary per se, but it's just flat out fun. And to see some of the coolest animatronics that have, I mean, hands down, that have ever been built. I mean, we're talking, it's almost as good as the Yeti on Expedition Everest. These things are just amazing.
The Mummy, which we hardly see on the ceiling that moves to grab you, you hardly ever see him. That is an amazing animatronic, the way it works.
And it's so cool to see in that land, and you touched on it, Panda, is the amount of, like, you know, I use the word streetmosphere because that's what it used to be in the studio.
Yes.
But to see that and to see them have so much fun, and you could see them interacting with guests, and the Universal ones are always so funny because it kind of skirts that line of, whoa, God, did that character really just say that to do that? Where it's just so different from anything else. Whereas the parks that we love have basically trimmed and gotten rid of all of that streetmosphere. We're here. They're coming in playing violins, and they're coming in dressed in the corner. I mean, it was awesome. It was so cool.
Disney's got to put them back. They're the lifeblood through the veins of the park there. It brings it to life.
Surprisingly,
I just want to touch on a couple of the comments really quick because I saw them and I think they're important. 2 people have asked, am I going to puke? Do I get motion sickness? I want to say we had to drag Jeff, our friend, kicking and screaming on this ride because Forbidden Journey does make him sick. And Forbidden Journey makes a lot of people sick. What they did with Monsters is they took all of the good parts of Forbidden Journey and got rid of the simulator aspect of there's no that's what makes
screen
most
bubble.
People sick is pretending to fly on that broom and playing Quidditch and just losing all equilibrium. I don't think anybody will have an issue with I shouldn't say anybody. Most people will not have an issue with motion sickness because it's not simulating a motion simulator. It's not a screen ride. It is animatronics with screens behind it. I don't think nausea is going to be a thing. The other thing was somebody said, what was that? Sorry.
I was just going to say, it's not whipping you around either. No. When you're actually going through the queue, there's a part of the queue where there's kind of a model of the ride, and Igor takes you on a little bit of an example of what the ride is going to be like. Do not get scared out by that situation. And this is where I knock this ride a little bit for this very reason that we're discussing right now, is because I felt like I was just laying back on my back. Like I felt like I was in a Barcalounger the entire ride. And for the ride itself, like the scenery was great. The screens were great. You know, the animatronics are next level. They have combined every technology we've seen in ride technology over the past 20 years into this thing. But for me, it was just like, I could have been on Yoshi.
Your back twice.
I honestly could have been on Yoshi.
You need to rewrite it. There was a problem with your arm.
No, there wasn't.
Malfunction.
And here's why, Panda. You're experiencing this technology like it's new. This technology has been around for 20 years. You know, this is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey.
No. Just last week. Just last week.
And it's good. Like I said, the animatronics, there is nothing like this from an animatronic point of view anywhere in the world. But they cheaped out on a couple of parts. We wrote it twice. We wrote it just Amy and I, and then we drugged Jeff and Dan with us. And somebody did ask in the comments, how scary is it? Scary from a point of view of like roller coaster, I'm going to fall out? Not at all. Scary is the monster going to get me? I would say also not at all. Jeff would disagree with you, the other Jeff. Riding this with him and hearing him scream like a schoolgirl was hysterical. So your mileage may vary. I didn't find it scary. But there is a couple of parts that you're looking at absolutely unthemed walls. And there's a couple of places where they decided not to do an animatronic that was a super missed opportunity. I don't want to spoil it for the ride, but Dracula at the end, we'll just leave it at that.
I think he hasn't worked, by the way. I think he's supposed to lunge at us, and he hasn't yet.
Well, that could very well be, but I'm saying
I need to ride it again.
It is not the greatest ride in the world. It is good. It is a very solid ride.
Is it the greatest dark ride?
I would say no.
I say yes.
Let's,
You're wrong.
I wanna
You're
go
wrong.
to
Can
Amy
we
here.
get him off the show?
Have you never been on Navi River Journey, Panda?
I want to go to Amy for the next part here. I want you to comment on monsters, but I also want to take us to the other ride in this park, which is the
of the
werewolf
Werewolf.
coaster, Curse of the Werewolf.
It was an afterthought.
I want to preface this by saying that when we entered the morning that we went into the parks, Amy and I both outlined like where we thought our portals were going to rank. And going in that morning, I believe that Monsters was number 1 for Amy.
I said like 2. I think it was gonna be
one
2.
or 2 for Amy, which
Yeah.
blew my mind in its own right, because this, I mean, she won't watch anything scary on, like a scary animated cartoon. Nope, not gonna watch it. Like, she does not like scary things. So she was fully expecting to love this land.
Yeah, I knocked it down a couple notches. I think it's great. I think they need to expand it. It feels like a very small land. I was disappointed with Curse of the Werewolf because of the length. It is very, very short.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, Paul, I have always wanted you to take me to Silver Dollar City. I wanted to ride Time Traveler. It's like, this is Time Traveler.
And I was like, Amy,
It's the same
every time
concept.
I've looked at Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City, I've wanted to hurl.
Yeah, but you didn't hurl on the werewolf
That is
because it was
true.
like 10 seconds long.
Mhm.
I heard that it was supposed to be longer and it got cut, but if they expand and add more to the land, it'll be great. The Monsters Unchained, you've got to really respect the technology and the visuals and the animatronics, like you guys said, are next level. Like, they are impressive and the visuals are impressive. When I rode Forbidden Journey for the first time in 2011, because it's been around for a very long time,
Last week.
for Panda last week, but we have something very similar coming up just like that. But I screamed. Do you remember that? When the Dementor came like right at my face?
Yes, when he follows you.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I
oh,
didn't have
yeah.
any of those moments on Monsters Unchained. There
Right.
was nothing that made me scream. And I like sometimes that little like surprise moment. So I wanted a little bit more from it. That said, it is a really cool ride. Oh, and Burning Blade Tavern is so cool. Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's me. 2011.
That's great.
Like,
Can I just put something out there? Amy, you talked about if they expanded it. Do you know what the big rumor is? And I'm hearing it from so many people.
I don't.
That there is a boat ride coming for Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That
I
would
think
be
they
really
realize
cool.
how much people miss Jaws, and they're supposed to up it with this. I'm hoping that's the case.
That would be cool.
'Cause
I
I would
would
like-
like to see that area get expanded.
I
I
think it's
think
great.
that, yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think, like you said, Curse of the Werewolf was definitely an afterthought. They realized that they needed something else in that land. We had one similar, like you were talking Silver Dollar or whatever, Time Traveler Lagoon back home in Utah. We had the spider. Jeff and Dan didn't believe me, but the spinning aspect of the car is weight dependent on the car itself.
Yep. We
We
heard
rode one, the version back home, and I don't know what the weight distribution was, but I have never been so sick in my entire life. Like, we were spinning so fast that I think I saw Jesus. It was so bad. But conversely, Curse the Werewolf, that we hardly turned at all.
Yeah,
and
same.
I don't think there's enough arc to get it to moving. And a lot of-
Oh, I
It's
I
fine.
spun more than I wanted to. I closed my eyes. I was petrified.
We got robbed.
yeah,
We
it's
needed-
fine. But also, I just while I've got the floor, we did eat at Das Steakhouse. I think we're the only ones that have eaten inside the park. Oh, you
Nope,
did too,
I did.
Panda? We didn't make it into Burning Blade Tavern. The line was out the door by the time we got over there. But phenomenal theming inside Das Steakhouse. We got the cool it's supposed to look like you're drinking blood because it's a vampire themed
Yep.
restaurant. It is quick service. It is not a steakhouse like Le Cellier, for example.
Mhm.
Everything that we ate was phenomenal. Amy's chicken sandwich came out with a black bun. I had the steak, and it came out with like 2 skewers stabbed in it. Like, the blood drink was amazing. It's like a
Yeah.
cranberry flavored mead. Anyway, just wanted to touch on that. And the violin player, as you walking through,
Yes.
so cool. The
Yeah.
streamosphere in this part of the park was the best for me.
And it's important to head to this park both during the daytime and night. The storyline is that the monster hunters are out during the day, so they're going to engage with you during the day, talk to you and everything like that. But the monsters actually come out after night. And this is a theme with this park that a lot of people are hitting on, is that we're not getting enough evening hours.
Yes.
The park is looking like it's going to be closing around 9 p.m. most nights, and that just barely gives you an hour in the dark here in Orlando. And I think they're doing so much with lighting and theming, and this land was literally built for the dark, that it's a huge missed opportunity if we don't end up seeing some like late night hours or some after hours. We ended up going into Burning Blade, had an amazing beer. I think the beers that they've actually been doing in all of these lands that are exclusive, I think, are top notch. And the ability to go into Burning Blade, and I don't know, Jeff, if you had people in Das Steakhouse that were walking around, but we had a monster hunter that came up and talked to us,
Told us the
for
whole story.
probably 5 to 7 minutes of telling us this story of catching this,
Like one of the things that were on the wall.
yeah, and like just went into detail, engaging in conversation with us. And there's so much to this backstory to this entire land, and that's the stuff that I think you don't appreciate, or you don't spend enough time observing. And like, you could go to this land and never ride one of these rides that we've talked about, and still like learn so much about this space. So it's going to be cool to explore that further.
I definitely
Even
agree.
down to
my
the-
only complaint was we didn't get to see the windmill. They never lit it on fire while we were there, which is that's a real bummer.
They knew you were there.
Yeah, it should be
even the
every 15
Coca-Cola-
minutes, but
Even the Coke Freestyle machine in Das Steakhouse had a screaming blood thing, and they had one regular and one 0 sugar. It was delicious. It was like root beer with cherry in it or something, but it was great.
That's awesome.
And the bathrooms are super cool too.
Oh,
They're
they are
black,
actually
black
really cool.
urinals.
All the toilets are black. Yeah.
We're going to do a special follow-up show that's all about the bathrooms of Epic Universe. So if anyone
You know,
wants
the person
comment.
that cleans the bathroom is so thrilled that they're just black.
I hate to even bring this up, but we should touch on this before we leave this portal, because this is a rule. We verified it while we were there. If you do the monster makeup makeover, you're not allowed to buy alcohol the rest of your night. That is a hard and fast.
Really?
yeah, because
No
they can't verify
nonsense
your
rule.
identity.
Because they can't verify your ID.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
if
They
you
could
want to be a
stamp. They
monster,
could stamp your
Yeah.
hand or something.
yeah, give you a wristband. There's ways around it, but currently, right now, that is the absolute rule.
Take a picture of you getting the makeup on and show it to them. I mean, come on, they could find a way.
Except if you're me, they just take a look with makeup or without makeup. Go ahead, drink.
Drink.
Let's head
That's fine.
across to the Ministry now. This is the newest Harry Potter land. And this is, again, it's very interesting to see the pivot that they did with this space. I think they did a phenomenal job. But it's 1920s Paris meets Wizarding World London. So it is both of those things kind of combined. And it's mainly because originally the thought with this land was it was going to be heavy into the Fantastic Beasts franchise. That franchise kind of
Fizzled.
went off of a cliff, and so they decided to pivot very quickly, and so they've kind of done a mashup of the two. But the ability to walk into this land, they did not spare any expense on what they did with these buildings back there and the scale of these buildings. I think that is absolutely amazing. Go ahead, Derek.
I just want to give one friendly tip that if you know you're going to go to Epic, and again, we'll talk about this with How to Train Your Dragon, take the time, like I did with my family, and rewatch those Fantastic Beast movies. Even the first two. The second one is the one set in Paris. I can't tell you what a difference it made versus walking in with someone else, a family member walked in and was like, wow, versus walking in, we just watched the movie like the week before. We're like, holy shit, there's that place right there. And oh my God, there's that place from the movie. And there's that creature from here. It just means so much more. They're not the greatest movies at all. I'm not trying to say they're great, but you will find yourself enjoying that land a heck of a lot more if you rewatch those movies.
And we had that question early on in the show too. Someone did ask, do you need to see these movies? I was going to come back to
that when we get to Berk.
And so I think it applies to Berk and How to Train Your Dragon more than anything. But I would say that it will do you justice to sit down and watch these movies, and you will, like, your jaw will drop.
You'll just have more appreciation.
You will have a lot more appreciation for what all of these lands do. The ministry area does have its signature ride, which is Battle at the Ministry. It also has a show, and I think that this land will be successful over time, but it's been plagued with a lot of kind of hardships and a lot of issues with just people getting into this space. So right now, Battle at the Ministry is only set up on virtual queue right now through the previews. We're not 100% sure what's going to happen when this does open to the general public, but there are 3 drops. Supposed to be 3 drops throughout the day to get into the virtual queue, one at 11 a.m., one at 3 p.m., and one at 6 p.m. Now, all of us here that are Disney Vacation Club members or Disney fans, we should be the experts when it comes to virtual queue. We've done this enough times. We've all woken up at 7 a.m. We've all done Run Disney races or tried to get in line for Moonlight Magic. So we kind of know what to expect and how this goes. At the end of the day, I can tell you there is absolutely no rhyme or reason to this. You can feel like you are the best person ever. You can have a time app up. You can do whatever you want. But on the whole, for the entirety of those 3 opportunities for virtual queue, both Amy and I and Jeff Haslam struck out on all 3 of those occasions. This significantly, I think, has impacted just kind of most of our thoughts of this land, because you're spending a good portion of your day focusing on this virtual queue aspect. I will finish by saying that Amy and I were lucky enough to be able to ride it later that night. I fully accredit it to this dragon that's sitting between us, because Amy went and bought Toothless and then was carrying it around under her arm for the rest of the evening and went up and said, "Can we please see the queue?" And then we were allowed to go back and see the queue. And then we asked a cast member back there, and they said that they were going to do another drop around 8:15 of a little bit more virtual queue. And so we were able to actually secure that and get on the Ministry ride. But I would not expect that that's the case. We also saw recently, as of a couple days ago, them just open up a regular standby queue at around 8 p.m. So it's very hit or miss what they're going to do. But I think this is the biggest failure of this area. Before we talk about the amazing ride, I know Jeff's chomping at the bit to just comment on that just a little bit. Because
look at Dan's comment surprises me too.
So I said the Epic Universe was a solid triple, and everybody is going to come after me for this. Amy and I, and this has nothing to do with us not being able to get on Ministry. I want to be very, very clear. We know that it was a preview event, and we were fully prepared not to be able to experience everything. We did go to the show. But I personally, Amy agrees with me, and I honestly, this is no joke, I went back and watched the movies. My dogs are shaking my camera. I think the Harry Potter land, minus the ride, total miss. I don't like any of it.
Oh wow!
Oh, no.
I'm sorry to say that.
I think if the ride was open, you'd feel different.
No, I don't think so, because I did get to go in the queue, and the queue is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel, and I went back and watched our Universal Epic shows for when we first started talking about this and what we were excited for. You know, we did 2 shows in a row, and I said it then, and I still stand by it. Harry Potter was the wrong IP. It's jumped the shark. It's 20 years old. We're getting new Harry Potter on HBO. The whole Paris thing, which I understand is from Fantastic Beasts, I get it. The Paris portion Like the Paris itself is gorgeous. They did a phenomenal job with the theming, but there's nothing to do. There's nothing
Can
to
I
do.
rebuttal the curmudgeon?
Not yet. I'm not done. We watched.
I'm gonna start setting
many
a timer
people
here.
have issues with the wand stuff. You walk back there, and if you're not going on the ride, if grandma's with you and she can't do the ride, or if you got kids, there's literally nothing to do there except wander around and look at Paris. And I've been to Paris.
That's not
You know,
true.
I'm
You're
good.
simply not true. He's lying.
Well-
He's lying to all of you.
We were
Panda,
there
give
for
us your
2.5
experience
hours
there.
trying to get on the ride. So
The
I
fact
feel
that
like
you
it-
didn't go see the show or look through the windows and see all the animations and go to the Parisian Cafe is not my fault.
I ate at the Parisian Cafe. I did
You just
go
said
to
there
the
was
show.
nothing to. You just said there was nothing to do. Now you're eating at the Parisian Cafe.
Panda, let me have my spot. Then you can rebuttal. The food
I'm-
was
I'm com-
excellent.
I'm
The
completely
food was
joking.
excellent. The bar, we had the absinthe drink at the bar. It was excellent. The show was pretty good. The show is pretty good, but it doesn't hold its weight for the park with that ride down like the rest of the park. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel. They could have done Forbidden Forest. They could have done Jurassic World.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
could have done Back to the Future. They could have used any other IP that isn't like they got Harry Potter. He's 35 years old trying to be Harry Potter from 1986 or however the hell old he was. It didn't work for us. Amy agrees with me. We didn't love it. We just didn't love it.
Panda, give us your thoughts.
I think if the ride was open, he might have felt different, but I really don't know. I did not expect to like the land at all. I don't like Harry Potter. I'm not into Harry Potter at all. And I walked in and I thought it was like this ugly little area until I made that turn and that reveal that I thought was like forced perspective and later learned, no, it's Paris built to scale. Pfft. And then I walked through. I did do the attraction, the ministry, from the queue to the ride. I was blown away. I don't even know what I saw. I think I have to ride it again. I know that as I did the ride, I just said, I don't know how they're doing this. And I thought some of the animatronics were actual humans until I realized, no, they would be too tired to keep doing this. But it was amazing. And then what I thought of, again, when Jeff and I went to the Harry Potter and Universal and I said, it's alive, I felt that the land was alive. Every window just had stuff going on. Every door opened to a store. That cafe, we sat and had a croissant and coffee. I didn't even see the show. And I could have walked around there. Then, even though you see those big streets of France, there's other back alleys that look more like, I forgot the name of the dark, what's the name of the dark area in Diagon Alley? I think it felt like there was pieces of that. There was things to do with the wand that really weren't just like little things, but like big things happened. I thought it was really cool. I can't wait to go back. I loved it.
I agree.
Amy, I feel like you're my resident, like, in-house Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, I actually, when we had talked about where we would rank things, I had very low expectations for this part of the park. I actually said that I thought it would be my least favorite. And that's because I knew there was only one ride. I knew that there wasn't like a whole lot in the land. And there are some things that Jeff said that I do agree to an extent, especially if that ride is down. We didn't even think we were gonna have a chance until like almost half hour before the park closed to ride it, and the show was down the whole day we were there. So if those aren't operational, then you're walking around. You need a wand to get any of the special things to happen, and there's a lot of storefronts that aren't real. And it's actually really hard to know what you can walk into and what you can't. So I actually went up to a door and opened it. And I was like, oh, don't go in there. And all I saw was like construction. And like I opened the door I should not have opened.
More coming soon, apparently.
But anyway, with that said, the ride blowed my mind. This was one of my huge like goosebump moments. I didn't know anything about this. Do not ruin this ride for yourself and try to watch it on YouTube. Besides the fact that it's not going to do it justice. Someone said that in the comments. It doesn't do it justice. It does not. That I took Toothless on the ride with me and held him the whole time. And I just like my jaw was just open. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
it is the technology and the visuals and
The
everything
scope,
about
the size.
yeah. Everything
It felt
about
like
it, yeah.
10. It felt like 10 Costco's big.
Yes, like the space felt huge, and I don't know if that was just a forced perspective or if it was real.
I know.
We
I don't
did
know if
not
it was
get-
real either.
We did not get to see the show. The queue obviously is amazing, but this is another example of I want to see more, and I think there is plans to expand to another ride. Right? We saw kind of a spot where it looked like
the expansion pad already exists. This, I think, is somewhat to Jeff's point. This is the land that I think suffered the most when it came to some budget cuts for Epic Universe, because there's literally the facade and the entrance area to another ride. From what I read, I believe it was supposed to be some sort of actually a VR based, you're riding on a broom type of experience. That I think they actually did something similar to this in New York as just kind of a special event last year at one point. But yeah, I agree. This area does suffer from the fact that it has one ride, which no other land actually only has one ride. And that ride is extremely hard to get on. And I think this is going to be kind of the thing that tells the tale of this land is what does this look like once it opens to the general public.
Yeah.
We've all kind of chatted about this today and over the past day or so, like what is the best plan of action. I think that they take this and make it a standard queue.
it needs to be a queue.
and-
Everyone needs the option.
And they do something like
wait.
an individual lightning lane purchase if you really want to ride this and charge people $50 a pop, which people would pay. I mean, we cringe at the thought of that, but people would pay it to actually experience this if they're there on their vacation. When we were in the queue itself, which I will say, when I compare the queue and the ride, the queue is much more impressive in my mind to the scale and everything that they have done there than the ride is. The ride is incredibly impressive, but it goes by so fast that like I'm gonna need to reride it multiple times to fully like appreciate everything that's going on. But the space that ride is in, it's like Space Mountain. You want to ride it with the lights on and see everything that's happening around you because you know that this building
no, I don't want to ruin it.
Oh, I do.
I don't.
I want to see. I want to see how
It's
massive
so
this
magical,
space is
not
and everything.
being able to figure it out.
I will go back to some of the people earlier that were questioning about motion sickness and things. I will say of any ride that I experienced that day, Battle at the Ministry would be the ride that I would have a little bit of a concern about because of how dependent it is on screen technology, and because of how that ride vehicle moves around. It is a little bit up and down, left and right. It doesn't do full drops like Tower of Terror, but you're going to have that same kind of feel to it based off of what that ride vehicle is doing. You couple that with how the screens are and everything. But the queue area is the thing that really your jaw just drops at the scale of this. They didn't have to build something this massive for a queue, but they did.
It was their rise of the resistance moment.
It was, and it's like at least 3 or 4 times as big as that. And the biggest takeaway I will say is I wish everyone that is listening to this show or watching this show would get to experience it the way I think all of us got to experience it, which is just kind of moseying around in that space. You will never get to experience that unless you're there for the previews, because I walked through the space. There's the holes all over the place. They're going to stanchion that whole area off. That's going to be just a giant queue full of people. So you're never going to have that experience like we have. They were doing tours the night with Universal executives the night that we were there. And I heard one gentleman walk by and he said, "You'll never see this space like this ever again." And it's like,
that
it
queue
makes
is
your heart
designed to
hurt.
hold 4 hours of people.
Yeah.
4 hours of people. Tell me what good experience that is for somebody if that's actually capacity. The queue is great, but I don't want to spend 4 hours doing anything.
No.
And just really quick, lastly, I want to go back to what I said at the beginning of the show with the wrong IP, and then I'll let Derek talk. I feel like this Harry Potter section did a Galaxy's Edge. Disney screwed up Galaxy's Edge by giving us something that we couldn't relate with. It's a brand new world that nobody's ever heard of. You're supposed to create your own story. There's no Hoth, there's no Tatooine, there's no Endor. It was this new thing that we're just supposed to love because it was the new trilogy. I kind of feel like this with Harry Potter. There's nothing in it. I don't like the new movies. I don't like the Fantastic Beasts. I've tried to get through them, and I think it's, at minimum, it's the most divisive of the series. And for them to go all in on something that nobody has that love for, I think that's where they missed. They could have done the scale and the ministry and everything and made it Harry Potter. That's all. I'm done.
Well, but I would say that the ride, none of that really relates to Fantastic Beasts. Like,
But everything else does.
everything
Right.
else does. And
Everything aside from
but
the
this is
ride.
also the
That's my
massive
point.
pivot that they had to do when the franchise flopped. Is I imagine that the ride originally was going to be Fantastic Beasts and, you know, animals all over the place and everything, and then they were like, oh crap. Like,
Well,
And that's
so-
exactly my point, is they gave us a land with no love and a ride with all the love, and it just doesn't feel cohesive in any way to me.
Yeah. Derek, what was your experience here?
Yeah, so I didn't get to ride the ride. So the ride was not working, but I did get to go through the queue. And I think Amy had mentioned, talk about getting like goosebumps and stuff. For me, for this land, it was like twofold. I got the first goosebumps, like Panda said, rounding the corner, where it looks like at first, like, what is this, like a dirty train station wall? Like, what is this? You can't see anything, and you come around and you see this huge expanse, and then you see how tall they are. They're almost like double the size of anything in Diagon Alley. I mean, it's just so impressive. And then if you get to go in that queue, it was like some pretty emotional, like, to, you know, for fans that love those movies, to walk into here. I thought this, and it might be a hot take, but I don't care, is a trillion times cooler than what you see in Rise of the Resistance with 34 totally solid stormtroopers just standing there not moving. I thought this was so much more impressive, and it just blew me away to walk through that queue. Like, it was full on, like, holy crap. It was so unbelievable. I can only imagine how great the ride is. I did watch it on YouTube a couple of times. I know it doesn't do it justice, but I was like, I got to do it. Research for the show, and it looks so good. So I totally get Jeff's point about, like, the movies are not beloved, because they're not. Like, I watched it was almost like homework. It's like, well, I gotta watch it. We're lucky enough,
Yeah.
we're going to Epic, so I gotta watch it. And I'm watching them going like, God, there's just something about them that just didn't click. They were fine, but there was no magic. So I don't like the movies much at all. But that land, to me, like Panda said, even walking around, there's so many like cool little nooks and crannies and little bars and little places. But you guys have to explain this to me. So the anger that people have about there's only one ride. What does Diagon Alley have? One ride.
One.
That's it. That's it. So why does no one gives crap to Diagon Alley? Like, oh, it's only got one ride. This has a ride, and it has a show, and it has restaurants. Diagon Alley, last time I checked, has one ride. But yet there's so much hatred towards this land for only having two things. So
I think I can address that if we have time.
Please.
I'll be fast.
Please.
I think it's because Diagon Alley is a character in and of itself, just like Hogwarts is a character in and of itself. The Diagon Alley feels Harry Potter, the angled buildings. There's way more wand activity, it feels like, and maybe that's just because most of the stuff wasn't working at the Paris version, but it's also an extension of Hogsmeade. You have the train that you can go back and forth. You can be in Harry Potter world in two parks and never have to leave that quote unquote bubble that we talk about. And I think you're right in that I don't think anybody's giving any love to Diagon Alley because they only have one ride. I think that is the same complaint that people have about Diagon Alley that they're going to have about Fantastic Beasts or whatever we're calling this land, Ministry of Magic. I also want to go back in 6 months and get Derek's opinion when this area of the park is full of 10,000 wand wielders trying to interact with the park, because I don't think there's enough to do. I have the same complaint about Diagon Alley. It's a dead end. Yeah. It is packed full of people, but at least the theming was something that I recognized from the books and I recognized from the movie. You have to get to the second crappy Harry Potter movie to even get at this land if you can make it that far. And it just isn't enough IP that I fell in love with. They could have done a Forbidden Forest, had the same attraction, and blown everybody away with the
That would have been
theming.
cool.
But we got this. Oh well, we got the one guy from Les Mis that has pet animals in his briefcase. I don't know. I could go on for hours. I gotta stop.
All right, let's move on.
Really quickly,
Yep.
because we didn't really say this. The Parisian Cafe, the quick service restaurant, that was the best quick service meal I had ever had in my life. I had the quiche
Hands down.
Lorraine. It was fantastic. I was very, very impressed with that quick service.
Yeah, we actually did a dining review for it, so that'll be coming up here on the DVC Fan YouTube channel in the next few weeks. So be on the lookout for that. I think there's so many unique. There wasn't dining that we experienced that was a miss. I know Jeff had a little different experience in a couple of different places, specifically Pizza Moon, which I know so many people are raving about, but it just seems like it's pizza. But
No, it's pretty good. It's much better than I thought it was going to be.
Nothing
Yeah,
wrong with
Florida.
the food.
It's
We'll
Florida
talk about
pizza.
it.
No,
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't.
Florida.
You had it, Derek?
No, but it's Florida pizza. It's not good.
No, it's not. It's not Florida pizza. For real. The crust shocked me. The sauce and the cheese. Really, I ate it. I was like, wow, all the people I ate it with, we were kind of shocked. It's a third-party company, I think, too. They got something going on. It's good pizza, swear to God.
I will say on the whole, I was very surprised at the dining throughout this, because that's been a big critique of mine of Universal for so many years. Is you get into these parks and it's very mediocre dining at best wherever you're going. Even in the Harry Potter sections of the original parks, you know, they've done some cool things there, but it's always so chaotic and it's just not hit the mark. They've really themed all of this dining pretty great. Every land has something very unique that is
And
not
it's
offered
good.
elsewhere.
It's
And
not
good,
crappy
yes,
food.
good
It is
food.
themed food that
Yes.
actually tastes good.
And it's not like your standard fare either. Like you can get your standard stuff that you can always get in a theme park, but like as we're moving on to the last portal, which is How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, like we ate there at the meat hall and I got a salmon sandwich. And that's not something that typically is on a theme park menu. And it was amazing. Like it was absolutely great. So we're moving on from Harry Potter and moving to How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. I will preface this with, it should not be a surprise here at the Krieger House of what we resonated with the most. I went in, we had never seen these movies.
I know. I can't believe they came out in 2010.
I know.
Yeah, 2009, 2010 was the first movie
so
ever.
we've been sleeping on this franchise for 15 years.
We've been sleeping on this franchise, and we watched the first two movies, and I cried through both of them. And going in, just seeing some of the concept art for this land and the musical score that is behind this entire franchise, they nailed this.
Yes.
And you enter that and you are in Berk. And I teared up multiple times in the land itself just from what they are doing here. So again, I go back to saying, make sure you watch these movies because you will appreciate it so much more. But it resonates with us for multiple reasons. There are, counting this one, there's 4 dragons in this room right now, basically, because we basically have started calling all of our dogs dragons now. And I mean, we've got a Toothless, I've got a hat, I've got this shirt. I mean, we've gone all in. So it should not be surprising that we loved How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk.
And to the person who said, do you have to be familiar with the IP? You know what? If you don't want to watch Fantastic Beasts, don't.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if you have never seen How to Train Your Dragon, you are doing yourself a huge disservice by not watching it before going to Epic Universe. It is a fantastic movie, and I haven't resonated with a movie for this, with a franchise for so long. Like, yes, Disney's had some great stuff. We really resonated with WALL-E, but that was like 2008. Frozen was good, but really resonated. I just can't believe I went my entire career as a middle school teacher and never watched How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
Don't you remember when I texted you guys, and it was like a couple months ago, because I watched these and I texted you all. It's on the thread. I'll have to go back and find it, where I said, oh my God, I haven't seen these movies in the longest time. And guys, if you've never seen them, and that's when you guys said, no, we've never seen them. I'm like, do yourself a favor, because it is just the story, the music, the character, the humor. It's just everything that's been missing lately from a lot of movies by a certain other company. But these movies will kill you. And if I could find a way to have that music from How to Train Your Dragon just follow me through everyday life, like
that can happen, Derek, because there is literally a How to Train Your Dragon ambience channel on YouTube, and I've been playing it nonstop as I work throughout the workday. It is just, it's on in the house. And Amy came home today. She had jury duty. Luckily, she was dismissed and did not have to serve. But she comes home and she's like making dinner tonight. She's like, I've been singing this theme song in my head all day.
Really
and I was like, well, I was like, it was a good thing you weren't here, because it was playing throughout the house the whole day while you weren't here. So, I mean, it wouldn't have been any better. I will say the highlights of this land for me, there are so many little dragons and Easter eggs and so many animatronics and so many things that just take your time to move through this land very slowly. The two must-dos, in my opinion, are Hiccup's wing gliders.
Yep.
It's going to be hard for Stardust to beat that coaster for me, because of the theming, because of the music, because of everything that is happening on that entire ride.
Everything about it. Yeah, and just a coaster or anything is always elevated when they include a speaker, a soundtrack system. Like, it just really envelops you into that theme and into everything. But I didn't even know. I thought it was going to be a kiddie coaster, like the Trollo coaster. Yeah, Panda, you thought that too? I had
100%. That's what I thought. And when I got on it, I didn't expect music or animatronics at all.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. That was my first goosebump moment of, maybe my second, walking into Berk and seeing it, like the reveal, and then riding the Hiccup's wing gliders. It was just goosebumps. It was amazing. We rode it twice. I loved it.
We loved it as well.
The second thing I'll say real quick, Jeff, and then I'll let you go is, if you've not done, you have to take time, carve out time for the show. The show itself probably has one of the most revealing moments that I've ever had in a show. And again, this was probably the second time that I cried in this land. And what I loved, and I don't want to go into too much detail here. You can look it up if you want to.
No,
but in
don't.
That show,
don't ruin it for yourself.
Don't look it up. Just go.
Amy went to the show, and I had not realized that she didn't know what happened in this show. And that, like, Jeff, you say this all the time, and I 100% agree. Going to the theme park with someone else and watching them experience something for the first time is like you are doing it again. And so I, of course, ruin everything for myself. So I knew what was coming. But even for me, like, for her to experience it, like, I remember grabbing her leg in the theater, because how they did it was even more astounding than I thought it was going to be done. And just absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, that was another big moment for me, was that show.
Jeff, you were nodding along there for a while, so I think you guys like this land a little bit.
We did it. It became Amy's favorite. She came out with toothless everything.
I'm so glad you guys watched it the night before, because
I'd seen it. She hadn't seen it, but I had seen it several times. I can't agree more with Hiccup Flyers. I think it's not an intense coaster, so people that are afraid of coasters shouldn't be. It's not a kiddie coaster. I would call it a family coaster. I would call it what Slinky Dog should have been.
100%.
It's nothing doesn't loop. It doesn't invert. It doesn't do anything too crazy. But it's so well themed and so smooth and so adorable that it's accessible to a lot of people.
It's Slinky Dog mixed with Hagrid's. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good way to put it. Yeah, exactly. Without the terrifying parts of Hagrid's. We didn't get to see the show. We tried 3 different times. They were having technical issues all day with it. But just the land itself. I think the toothless meet and greet is probably the best meet and greet of any meet
Yes.
and greet in the
Someone
park.
said
And we didn't even
that.
wait for it.
Yeah, we didn't even wait
watched
for it
people do
either.
I
No.
think the other two rides in the park are in that land are just kind of, well, we got to give something for other people to do. They're fine. You know, they're just kind of carnival rides.
Yeah.
The water ride, you're not getting off that thing absolutely and totally drenched.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, I'll say this. This is what they really nailed was Isle of Berk, because it makes you want to go watch the IP. Even if you don't watch it before you go, you're going to walk into land and go, I got to go watch this show. You walk into Harry Potter and you go, I don't want to watch the show. So I think this inspires, that IP is so synergistic. It inspires you to want to be more involved. And I think it was just
and
a
this
home
was
run.
the land. This was the land that I, going into Epic Universe before I watched everything, and before I watched How to Train Your Dragon. This was the one where I was like, really? Is this franchise big enough to pull this off? Like, is this going to resonate with the audience enough?
Stupid. Yeah.
We're just, don't listen to us. We're dumb. We're stupid.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing.
And they're coming out with a live action remake this year, and it might be the first thing that gets me back in the movie theaters in the past 10 years. Like, I mean, we'll be there. Amy will be holding Toothless. We'll be decked out and ready for this. Panda, Derek, any thoughts on this land?
Yeah, I know we're pressed for time. I'm going to just tell you, I've been obsessed with the music for since the movie came out.
Yes.
That flying, when I got on Hiccups and heard that music, all of a sudden I was back in the movie, and I did feel the coaster did a good job of the swooping, a feeling of being on. Toothless is the guy, right? No, Toothless is the
dragon. Yeah.
I felt like being on Toothless with his bad tail. It felt great. I thought I don't want to give away. There's a surprise where some animatronics happen that you don't expect before you launch. I just thought it was great. So yeah, that land, I did not expect much. And please, the show, everything, fantastic. It's just fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say enough good things about this land. So I'll just be quiet about it. We have gone through all of the lands at Epic Universe, and we've been talking for almost 2 hours. So we might come back and do another show talking about the hotels and talking about the dining and food options in a little bit more detail. Before we wrap up for the evening, though, a couple things. I do want to go around the room one time and ask one simple question. Derek, I'll start with you. Is this the best theme park in Orlando?
Oh God, is that tough? But well, I mean, we're all going to have memories of certain parks that are going to make it always be my favorite. It is, and I think someone said it. I think it was Amy said it, which is true. It's been a really, really long time since I've gotten home from a park, and Annie and I have said, like, throughout the course of the following days, like, God, you know what? I wish we were back. Like, I wish we were back there. I wish we were walking around Berk, or I wish we were in the Burning Blade with the beer, or I wish we were in Celestial Park. So do I hope that they get some of their issues worked out? Obviously. Do I hope it's manageable when the whole entire planet Earth tries to visit the park? I do, because I want them to experience it and have the same goosebumpy moments like I did. But like I said, this is never a Disney versus Universal type thing. This is good for everybody that comes to Florida on vacation. So I loved it. It definitely exceeded the expectations that I had, which
Derek,
is big.
You said that Dark Universe was your second favorite. What was your first favorite land?
Berk.
Oh, Berk.
Berk
Okay.
was my first favorite. Berk. Yeah.
Amy?
Right now, yes. Right now, there is nothing with as many like wow moments going on as Epic has, especially to someone who has been to the theme parks. They do need to get some of their, technical stuff under wraps. I think once they do, things are going to be a little smoother. I am concerned about like how it's going to handle crowds. I look forward to seeing expansions. Right now, Epic Universe is my favorite park and you know, that changes, you know,
Yeah.
things change, your feelings change for things, but right now it's what I'm thinking about. It's where I want to be, and I cannot wait for them to open up for annual pass holders, so that we can go more often. I do worry about, you know, they're gonna have to maybe do some sort of park pass system, because otherwise the annual passes are gonna just descend upon it.
Gonna take over the park.
Take over. But right now it is my favorite, and I still can't believe that I didn't watch How to Train Your Dragon for 15 years. Like, it's like one of my favorite movies right now.
Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Short answer, no. I think it's a solid triple. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I think they've done what they did well. They did really well. We've been talking all year long about, is this going to be a Disney killer? Is Disney going to have to respawn? All these different things. It's not going to take much for Disney to meet this bar. And the reason I say that is because the theming, I don't think you can touch. I think what Epic has done from a theming point of view is absolutely stellar. My thing is, there are a lot of really, really good rides. There's not a lot of great rides. There's a lot of amusement park style. There's a carousel. There's the weird Hiccup, the thing next to Hiccup that's the same thing that every regional amusement park has. There's a water ride that doesn't really do anything. The coaster in Dark Universe is okay, you know? So I think what they did really well. I don't think Disney is as worried as they should be. I mean, excuse me. I don't think they're as worried as they need to be.
What, since your answer is no, what is the best theme park?
I still think Magic Kingdom takes the cake. From the sheer amount of attractions, the theming, the popularity of the IP. I mean, it's every IP that Disney's ever created. I think Epic is probably top 3. There's no question. I might change my tune if everything functions like it should when it's fixed. But there was so many down moments for us on our visit that if they ever have that after park official opening, they should be frankly ashamed of themselves.
Panda.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I say, yeah, I have to agree with Amy right now. If you woke me up in the morning, so you can go to any park you want today, I'm dying to go back to Epic Universe. And with the thought of the expansion pads and what could be added, wow. Can Disney meet it? Yeah. Come on, Disney, bring it. Show me what Villains Land is going to be. Show me the Cars ride. But get rid of Winnie the Pooh and the cardboard, because we're done with the cardboard.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Agreed with that, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's the emotional pull right now. There's no other theme park that just makes me want to go back and experience it over and over again, or legitimately just sit on a park bench in Berk for hours. And that's funny in multiple ways, because the our good friend Molly over at Mammoth Club, she has done amazing videos, and you should go watch them. She's done individual videos on each different land, but in Berk, they actually talked about how they were in production for, I believe, the 3rd How to Train Your Dragon movie while building this land. And there was a screenshot that DreamWorks actually sent over to Universal Creative. And in the background of one of these was this bench, and it was kind of dragon themed. And Universal goes, can you zoom in on that? Can you give us more of what that looks like over there? And then they put these dragon themed benches all over the land,
which were carved with chainsaws.
Wow.
So like absolutely crazy level of detail. So when I tell you that I just want to sit on a bench in Berk, that is the truth. I think we all share concerns over the capacity here and the capacity issues when this opens. I will not play devil's advocate, but I will say from a financial standpoint, I do wonder if part of this is part of the thought with Universal is, do we make each land itself a one-day adventure? Because you could technically do that, and you could technically immerse yourself in that land and spend a day there, and then spend 4 days at Epic Universe. And in Universal's eyes, the more days that you have here, you could really do that. I mean, we've seen a lot of people do it, but I'm scared that that's going to be the case. And it's going to be does the general public stomach that? Because we've seen, Jeff, on your day there a day ago, we saw wait times for many rides get over an hour throughout the day. And with what we know about Ministry, the queue there is going to be 3 to 4 hours at least. Are all of these rides going to see those levels of wait times? And if so, you're going to have to pick and choose what you do. And I don't even know, at that rate, I don't even know if Express Pass helps. I don't even know if Express solves the problem, because technically, by the book, Express is supposed to cut your time in half. So still, you could have significant wait times and have spent 3 times as much on that day and on that ticket. So
if I see anything with like a 3-hour wait, I'm just going to sit right next to Paul on that dragon bench with a glass of mead and just call it a day.
Yeah, and I'm going to be punching Mario. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I freaking loved this park, and I also can't wait to go back. I just don't know that it absolutely met my expectations from a ride point of view. From a theming point of view, absolutely. A lot of the rides left me wanting more.
I truly feel like Jeff not seeing Ministry plays into everything. And I'm not, I just think that ride takes you to the next level where you go, wow. And without that, I might have said the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And I agree with you, but that is cause of concern in and of itself. Because
I agree.
We talked to the guy because we were schmoozing. I tried everything to get on this attraction. I tried every trick I've ever learned about. I didn't have Toothless. Maybe that was the problem. But the guy he was one of the leads working the attraction. He's like, look, we don't open this thing until 3:00 every single day. And we are working on this ride 24/7, and we can't fix it. That is what
I heard that too.
And
I heard that as well.
This is your keystone attraction, and we're a month into previews, and you're nowhere closer than you were a month ago. That does not fill me with a lot of hope. I'm sure it's a great attraction. I can't wait to go on it. I don't think it soured the rest of the trip, because I loved Mario Land.
Yeah,
I
that's
loved
a scary
I loved
thought.
Berk Universe. But that's a problem. We're less than a month for opening now.
I guess,
we do have to remember.
So is it just like, so obviously it works because we wrote it and it was working perfectly. So like what happens with these?
I think it's a little bit of a capacity issue. So I don't think that they're getting all of the cars in that ride at the same time moving together at the same rate. But if we remember correctly, I believe that Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland had this exact same problem.
They did. Yeah.
They basically had to shut it down for a period of time and kind of regroup and go, okay, what's happening?
Then that's what needs to happen.
At this point in time, you're less than a month out from grand opening. You're at a point in which, preview or no preview, you kind of just need to shut it down.
They need to get it fixed.
And you need to fix it. And you can run it nonstop, but
we talked to the bartender at the Moonshine. I can't remember the name of the bar in Harry Potter Land. And we asked if he's ridden it, because we were like, can you get us on? Like, we were trying everything to get on this thing. And he's like, we haven't ridden it. None of the employees have ridden it. It never works. He's like, less than 10% of cast members at Universal have ridden this attraction.
Wow.
And, anybody that's done project management or any kind of management for a living, at the end of the day, you have a bug list and you start crossing off things that are broke. The number of things that still aren't functioning in Harry Potter Land less than a month out, because Dan kept trying to do wand stuff and that one doesn't work. The brand new thing that you just built, the little motor that makes the plant come out. I mean, Harry Potter left me with a bad taste in my mouth, but I love it.
I will go back to what Panda said, and I do agree with that. I think for multiple reasons that overshadowed your whole day, and I wish it hadn't. You took time out of your day 3 times to try to do the virtual queue, and it failed. And then you spent another hour or so later in the day doing that. So I mean, if you could almost remove that existed, like, I feel like it would have maybe been a little bit better for you, but
no. But here's the thing: is I loved everything else. I loved. I have no complaints about what we rode. I just think the Curse of the Werewolf is okay.
Yeah,
the spinny thing in Berk is okay. The carousel is okay. my experience, I really don't feel like was Harry Potter. I don't like the land, but that was apart from the attraction. I don't think the attraction is going to make me love the land. It'll make me love the attraction. I love everything about Mario Land. I cannot wait to go back. My issue with the park itself is there's not a lot of, if your key attraction makes or breaks the park, you're relying too heavily on that one attraction.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting note that you just
Fair.
put there.
That's a fair take.
Yeah, Adam said in the comments, it's the ride sensors in the cars that are causing all the problems on Ministry. There are sensors all over the place. Your feet have to be on the ground. That is something that I will say was said to us when we got in the car or in the elevator. Technically, you're riding in an elevator. Is that they said, don't cross your legs, both feet on the ground, please. So that makes sense. If you have to have your feet on the
need
ground,
to shut it down for.
they have
a
AI
couple
cameras
weeks.
too, so it's causing a lot of e-stops. So they got some issues there to work out, as with any new park. So again, these are previews that we've been going through, and we'll see how it goes when it opens. I know that Amy and I have 2 more visits there on the books that we are going to be bringing you guys along with.
Yeah.
So we will actually be there the night before the grand opening, and we'll be sharing some of that experience with you all. That will include kind of the grand opening moment of Epic Universe. So we're so grateful for Universal for inviting us out to that event. And then we are going back on June 2nd. Amy...
Full crowds.
Yeah, so that'll be like kind of our full review of what does this place look like when everyone's there. Amy's going to have the opportunity to actually stay at Helios Grand Hotel the night before. She'll be staying there with our marketing director, our digital. I don't know what Mandy's title is anymore.
Director of Digital Marketing.
There you go. Yeah. But we're gonna have a great day there, and kind of bring you along and let you know what it feels like once it actually opens, and that'll kind of give us all an opportunity maybe to come back around to this discussion and talk about, is it handling the crowds the way we think it might, or are there more causes for concerns? Thank you all for sticking with us for 2 hours. Thank you guys for chatting, because I couldn't do this without you guys. I will leave you with 2 thoughts. The first thought is to please thumbs up this video, like and subscribe to the DVC Fan YouTube channel. But more important for everyone watching this right now, you should go to Instagram.com at the DVC Show, because there's a giveaway that actually just launched an hour ago on our Instagram page. And so you're going to want to head over there and follow us on Instagram, because we do post some interesting things from time to time over there. Like the post and tell us in the comments what your favorite land is at Epic Universe. The winner of this giveaway is going to get an Epic Universe hat. You are also going to get the wonderful Power Up band, and of course I bought the Yoshi one because
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Is there a Bowser one?
Yes.
I
I
believe
think
so. Yeah, there's one for.
There's
That's-
many.
That's the one I want.
And then last but not least, you're gonna get a How to Train Your Dragon.
Hatch your own
dragon at home. We won't spoil it as to what dragon actually exists in this one, but we will tell you that Amy and I spent way too long looking at these
I
on
tried
a
to buy
shelf.
Toothless. He's not available. He's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
We
It's-
thought they were a mystery, like those. Do you remember those
Oh, they did.
electric?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
They were mystery, and we would feel them, trying to figure out which.
So
That's
one
what I
was-
thought.
I'm literally on the ground in this gift shop, like looking through this little hole that's on top, trying to see like what colors do I see.
And someone says they're color coded.
And then, yeah, if you look on the back, they're all color coded. So the egg actually gives it away.
Yeah.
But
I
the
believe
green
this
and the
is-
blue look similar.
I will state that this is not toothless. Sadly.
Yeah, the toothless ones were all
The
bought up.
toothless were all bought up. So
But this is cute. This is a cute one.
the giveaway is actually up until May 2nd, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 2nd. And we will pick a winner. And on Saturday, I will send that winner a message. Do note, there are just people that scour the internet trying to scam giveaways like this all the time. So please note that you will hear from me. You will hear from me personally if you won this giveaway. I'll probably send you a message directly through the same channel. I'm not going to ask you for a credit card. I'm not going to ask you for any of that crazy information. So don't fall for scammers. And that's, I feel like, just a plug that you have to do in today's day of age when you do a giveaway. So there you go. But head over. We're trying to grow that Instagram following. So we very much appreciate your support. Also share the giveaway post with like your entire friends list, just everyone, or just share it. Everyone just go share it with Jeff Haslam, just like 700 times. That would be amazing. I mean, Jeff will love it.
Team Jeff.
But
Team Jeff.
thank you guys for sticking with us.
For nothing. I love the park, man. I love it.
Thanks for sticking with us through this marathon of talking all about Epic Universe. We are all very excited about it. Obviously, there's some things that they can do better, but I think it's great to have another new park here. And thank you for all of the people out there that are suffering through all of our Universal content, because I can promise you it's not going to end anytime soon, but we're trying to pepper it in between some of our Disney Vacation Club content here and there. So more Epic Universe on the way, but more Disney Vacation Club on the way too. And some of us are going to Moonlight Magic this Wednesday. So if you are at Moonlight Magic this week, we will plan to see you there. But otherwise, as always, we will see you next Monday.